Hi, this is Erin White with TheKnittervention, and I guess this is episode either 3.5 or 4. It's not going to be a standard episode, it's going to be more of a vlog than an episode. I've been on a hiatus for a little bit. I had to wait for a new computer to come in. It finally came in. Then I had to wait for a new web camera to come in because the built-in web camera on this computer is not the best. And then life happened. Yeah, I went through a period where I just didn't feel like knitting or creating or spinning anything. My husband went back to work in the office and it was just me at home by myself, and I'm used to having coworkers or other people around. I have dogs, but they're not the best conversationalists, and they are sleeping right now, so they might wake up in a little bit. We'll see. And yeah, I just didn't feel like knitting anything that I did knit. I kind of had to force myself to do, and it felt like running through water. It felt forced. Same thing with spinning. And I mean, like I said, life happened. There were a couple of life events that happened during that time that just really kind of got me down. So I just didn't feel like filming anything until, well, pretty much today. So I am filming from my living room, from my couch, because my office is a horrid mess and I need to clean it. I need to clean my workbench, and I need to clean my desk, and I need to organize some stuff. So we're just sitting out in the living room, hanging out with the dogs, and just having a conversation. So I'm gonna go over some of the finished objects that I was able to finish since the last episode many, many months ago, and some of the work in progress, and then just call it good and upload it. I'm not gonna be doing any fancy editing. I may or may not add like a little title banner for this. I don't know. We'll find out. Since the last video, as you can tell, I've got my hair cut and I got new glasses so I can see, which has helped with knitting and all that good stuff. So to quote Wayne from Letterkenny, pitter patter. So I'm going to start with a couple of berets. So I made 6 berets in a week-long period. I was like turning out like almost a beret a day. I just needed something to do with my hands, and I needed something, small, quick, instant gratification projects, and so that's what I end up doing. So this is 2 in 1 as far as finished objects go. So the yarn is a finished object from my last video. This is the Targhee Roving that was hand dyed by Stephanie Buford of Deep Dyed Yarns in her Velvet Underground colorway, and I spun it using the fractal spun method, so that's why you can see the different striping in it. So this is the Velvet Underground colorway. She also has yarn already dyed in this colorway that is just beautiful. It's like bright pink and black. This has shades of gray because of how the dyeing was. And this pattern is called the Selunga Beret, S-E-L-U-N or S-E-L-U-G-A, Saluga, or S-A-L-U-G-A. It's a free pattern. It is a top-down pattern. So it's knit from the crown down in the round. You start with 5 stitches across 3 double pointed needles, and I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time that I did a top down beret in that fashion. I like how it turned out after I got onto a circular needle. I was not a huge fan of knitting in the round that close at the very beginning. But it is a quick knit, it is a fun knit, it is very gratifying, instant gratification. If that's what you're going for, berets are the way to go. So this is actually going to my mom. And another beret that I did during that time is this right here. This pattern is the Mary Margaret lace tam. And it's based on the beret that the character Mary Margaret wore in Once Upon a Time. It is also a free pattern. It is a bottom-up pattern, and the reason I have it folded like this is because the pattern that I followed up until this point was in that pattern, but I changed it for the crown because I did not like how the crown turned out. So the crown on this one is a lot more open, and a lot more, a lot more of the lace pattern than the original pattern called for. I wish that I would have had the forethought to write down what I did as I did it, so that way I can repeat it, but I didn't, so there you have it. The other berets that I made were from these two patterns in various different colors. One went to my sister, and a handful of others went to my ex-mother-in-law down in Florida because, well, I love her. So there you have it. The next finished object I'm going to show you I'm very proud of. So this is the Jenny Flower Tee. Pattern is by Julie Knits in Paris. This was a lot of fun to knit up. It is a lace weight t-shirt, so be prepared to just be knitting a lot. It's lace weight on size 6 needles, size 6 or size 5. I'd have to actually go through and take a look. It might even be size 4. I have a horrible memory, but the pattern, Jenny Flower Tee by Julie Knits in Paris. The yarn that I used was Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play in her lace weight yarn, which I think is called Reticule. And the colors that I used are Midnight Aubergine, it's the purple one, and her Variegated Bunting colorways. And this did take me quite some time to do. I was working on it off and on for about 9 months. It was like my travel knitting, my palette cleanser, because it was just straight stockinette for the majority of the project. And every 2 rows or every 2 rounds, you just swap out the yarn that you use, and that's how you get the striped effect there. So Jenny Flower Tee, Julie Knits in Paris, Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play, her lace weight yarn. Great projects. The next one that I'm going to go through, the next 2 I'm going to go through, I made for my cousin Emily's baby shower. So Emily, if you're watching this, do me a favor, fast forward a few minutes. I'll give you a chance to do that now. All right, so I made for my cousin Emily's baby shower a corner-to-corner knit blanket using size 9 or size 10 needles. I want to say size 10 needles. And the yarn that you're about to see is from Briar Rose Fibers in their 4th of July yarn. It's a DK weight, sport weight yarn, probably closer to DK or light worsted. And there are really no colorways. They're all like numbers. So it's the orange and the teal, or the blue teal color. So this is the first half of it. So it's, the teal is the main color and the orange is the contrast color. And then at the halfway part, I swapped it out and the orange became the main color and the teal became the contrast color. And starting out, I don't have this pattern written, but it's a very easy side-to-side or corner-to-corner blanket where you're going to cast on, I cast on 3 stitches. First row is knit front and back, knit 1, knit front and back, so we have 5 stitches, and then I just knit across those 5 stitches. And then after that, it's going to be for the garter section, because it's alternating between garter stitch and stockinette stitch. So the garter stitch sections is for the increases is going to be knit 3, yarn over, knit to the end, flip it, knit 3, yarn over, knit to the end, turn. back and forth until you get to a point where you feel like, yeah, you can go ahead and start the contrast color. For me, that was after I started the knit 3 yarn over, I knit 24 rows, and then I did 6 rows of stockinette in the contrast color, 12 rows of garter, 6 rows of stockinette, 24 rows of garter. And that's how you get those big spaces in between. And I repeated that basically 3 times. On the 3rd time, during the 24 garter stitch section, I reversed that at row 12 to go to the orange color. So for right here, I finished the 6 rows of stockinette, and then I knit 12 in the main color, and then I switched to the orange color, and I knit 12 rows, and then 6 rows, 12 rows, 6 rows, 24 rows. And for the decrease side, when you get to that halfway point, instead of knit 3, yarn over, knit to the end, you're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit to the end. And that's how you go through and do that decrease. And then you're just going to follow the pattern until you bind off. And I bind it off at 3 stitches. So when I got to 5 stitches, I stopped doing the yarn overs, and I just did knit 2 together, knit 2 together, knit to the end until I got to 3 stitches, and then I bound it off and called it good. And then I blocked it. I blocked it like it owed me money. So it's a big blanket. It's a big, comfy, squishy, perfect baby blanket. So that was another of my finished objects. And I have 2 more finished objects to show you, and then I'm going to move on to my works in progress and then call it good. So this guy is also for my cousin and her baby. So Emily, if you haven't got my package yet and you stopped to watch the video, fast forward it again for just a little bit. So this pattern is Flagstaff, and it is by Taiga Hillard, Taiga Hillard. It is a sweet little pattern, and it comes in 0 to 3 months, which is what this is, 6 months and 12 months. And basically the only difference between the patterns is how many, after the yoke, how many times you repeat the increases for dividing the sleeves. So for the 0 to 3, you repeat it twice. For the 6 months, you repeat it 4 times. And for the 12 months, I think you repeat it 6 or 8 times. But yeah, this was a quick, fun little pattern. It was a nice palette cleanser. I finished this in 2 days, so it knits up fast because it's baby garments knit up fast. The pattern, or the yarn that I used in this is from Sweet Sparrow Knits. These colors are from her Celtic Legend subscription, so I don't know if she's going to have them for sale on her site after the subscription is over. So first month was Beltane, which is the body of the sweater, and you can see it has a little bit of sparkle to it. I don't remember the base for this particular colorway, but it is a fingering weight yarn. And the second month is what I used for the contrast, which is Selkie. And Selkie is in her owl sock base, or her owl yarn base, which is fingering weight, and it's 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, which makes it just luxurious and squishy and just feels so lovely, and 10% nylon. And her third month I just received is this guy right here, and I can honestly say that with the light that's coming in right now, this what you're seeing is the true color of it. And this one is called the Golden Solstice, and this one doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up. But each of these skeins is about 437-ish yards, and they're all hand dyed. And the Golden Solstice and the Selkie, which is this lovely gray, is like I said, 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. So it is all kinds of lovely and soft. And the final finished object is a knitting or a spinning finished object. In my last video, I had that big puffy blue ball of roving that was 4 ounces of Rommeldale and CVM. This is the result of that. I had 3 4-ounce balls of that, and I made it into a single, like 830 yard ball of wonderfulness. So this is about anywhere from a fingering weight to a sport weight yarn. I went through and chain plied it, and this is actually just shy of 12 ounces because some of it didn't make it because of various reasons. But this doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up yet. So if you have any ideas on what I can make with about 800 yards of fingering to sport weights, hand spun Rommeldale and CVM blend, please let me know. I am open to suggestion, and this was a lot of fun when I finally got around to finishing it. So yay. So there's that. So I'm going to move on to my works in progress. So one work in progress that I'm very excited about, and I'm actually I'm a little bit ashamed about too, because this is a commission project that I probably should have finished months ago. But and I'm going to be giving her a discounted price because it did take me so long to do, because I just fell into a knitting funk. But this is the Ginny cardigan by Angela Murray. I think that's her first name, but it's by Miss Mowry. It is a popular pattern. It is a lot of fun to knit up when you finally get to knitting it up. It is for somebody who is much smaller than I am, and I still need to go through and weave in all the ends and block it out, and I'm working on the belt right now, so I still have like 55 inches of belt that I need to finish plowing through. So it's still a work in progress, but I'm in the home stretch, and it feels nice to be in the home stretch for something like that. So yay. And when I'm finally done with this, I'm going to make myself a cardigan using this yarn. It's the same yarn as this, which is Baracco Vintage DK in the Oats colorway. And this is Baracco Vintage DK in the, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a lovely turquoise blue. And I have enough of this yarn from a pattern I started designing early last year that I just ended up frogging because I didn't like it. But I had so much of this yarn. I have like 9 balls of it. So I'm going to make myself a Ginny cardigan because it's lovely, and it was just a lot of fun. So that's for me later. Next work in progress I'm going to show is a test knit that I am participating in, and it's a test knit for my own pattern. And this is the Rosie's Shawl pattern. And so this is my progress on my test knit for my Rosie Shawl pattern. I have about 10 other test knitters that are also working on this. This will be finished and published in mid-August. Early to mid-August is what I'm shooting for. I actually did all of this in a day. So it's a quick knit. It is a one skein wonder. And the yarn that I'm working with, I got in Seattle at this Seattle Yarn when I was there on my layover to Alaska last year. And the fiber is by Bedhead Fibers, and she does natural dyeing techniques using, plants and plants and natural dyes. And this colorway is called Garden Party. And there's like 430 some yards to it, I believe. But it's fun to knit up. It is a one skein wonder project. So if you have any just random skeins of like at least 400 yards of fingering weight yarn, Rosie's shawl is going to be good for you. And when it does go for sale, 25% of all sales are going to be donated to the Genesee County Animal Control, which is where we got our pit bull puppy, Rosie. You can see her picture, right, the top picture of the dog. That's Rosie. That's my Rosie girl. And the bottom one is Stella, our basset hound. We got her from a breeder in Tawas, but Rosie, we got her at the Meet Your New Best Friend at the Zoo event from Genesee County Animal Control, and she's lovely and I love her. And the last work in progress I'm going to share with you is something that I'm making for myself. It is the Party Pop sweater, and it is a crop sweater, so that is the full length of it. And the yarn that I'm using for this, I'm not sure if they are making any more of this, but it's by Mitchell's Creations, and it's called Drunken Unicorn. It is a DK weight yarn in the Parish Lines yarn base, because they took pre-orders and they dyed this up in like any of their yarn bases that you requested, and I requested the DK weight Parish Lines one, and it is 245 yards per skein. I am working on the sleeves right now, so I'm currently on Sleeve Island, and I am not pleased with myself with the sleeves because I've already messed up the first round of pattern on the sleeve, so I have to actually knit it back and fix it before I can move on, and I just haven't wanted to do that yet, so I'm hoping to maybe work on that this week and get that done, because the body I was actually able to knit up in just a few days. It's a fun pattern to knit up. It's an easy pattern to knit up, and the yarn is just, I mean, you saw it. It's bright. It's Drunken Unicorns. How can you go wrong with Drunken Unicorns? So yeah, that is where I'm at right now. And I would just like to say thank you for hanging out and watching. And next video is going to be a little bit more structured. I'm going to be in my fiber space with all of my knitting and spinning accoutrement behind me. And yeah, thank you for subscribing. Like and subscribe for future videos, because there will be future videos. I don't know when the next video will come out, but I'm hoping to have it out within the next week and a half. And I wish you all happy knitting, and I hope that you are all staying healthy and happy. And until next time, I am Erin with TheKnittervention. Talk to you later.